morning, Sumit. How are you? Thanks a lot for
Good
joining.
morning. Good morning, Vikas. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Awesome.
Welcome to my channel. Can we start
Thank
with a
you.
short introduction from you?
Sure, sure. First of all, thanks, Vikas, for having me. Uh, so, I'm Sumit, working as a tech lead and software architect at Perennial Systems, currently managing two verticals, Golang and DevOps. So, from the hiring people to, let's say, deciding the tech stack to, let's say, deploying them on different applications, leading the teams, lots of stuff, right? So, recently moved to the tech job, let's say uh, lead job specifically. So I started my career from, let's say, a software developer. So after that, learned lots of technologies, uh, different from the different programming languages to the different architectures. So the architectures are the piece, or let's say, thing that really excites me, and I'm currently working in that field. So it's my pleasure to do that part. So my most of the time that I have in my week, that goes in the let's say architectural parts only, right? So to convert the business requirements to actual implementable solution, that's my job.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I think you have 7, 8 years of experience in the IT industry.
Yeah, kind of. But that's, let's say, from I started, we
Okay.
can say professional years of experience is around 4 and 4.5 years of experience I have.
Okay. Wow. So you started before you passed out of college.
Yes, yes.
Wow. That is interesting. How did you do that?
Uh, so freelancing parts, and after that, founded my own company, own startup, worked on a concept. Uh, let's say grabbed some users and all. So yeah, that was a really great opportunity that I got
Oh,
before
you had
even.
your own startup.
Yes. It was, let's say, hyper local location based search engine where we can, let's say, locate businesses near you for any of the sectors, because ideally these are, let's say, some any business, right? We can say on map it's just, let's say, one latitude and longitude, right? And some extra metadata connected to it. So we just can simply design a, let's say, a search engine which will index the geo coordinates and just give you the results on that.
Okay.
Yeah, and you just can connect lots of things to it. For example, using geofencing, you can just build the location geofenced advertisement and lots of things, right? So it's a pretty big sector yet to be discovered completely. Uh, there are companies which are working on that front, but yeah, I also contributed something in that. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, after that, I saw there is some need to know industries well. So
Okay.
and after, let's say, college part, right? Now you are, let's
Yeah.
say, pass out, you have to get something safe, secure, at least to just start with, right?
Okay.
So I moved to the job part, let's say, till the date, let's say, I'm just learning a lot of things right after that. So just gearing up and, let's say, preparing myself for a next big thing in my life.
So how is your current job like? You said you're working as a tech lead come architect. So what kind of work does it involve?
Okay, so when we say take lead part, so there are two things. One is on the let's say leadership part, where you have to, let's say, handle people, understand them, solve their problems, uh, and make sure you make people, or let's say you align people according to let's say, your organizational goals and all. So the leadership part is that, and the technical part. So uh, myself, I'm a polyglot developer. So programming language is not a, let's say, thing for me. Any platform, any language. So that helped me a lot. So let's say adopted Golang. After that, currently having around 20-25 people in Golang only. uh, so let's say, when we say leading the vertical, there is this aspect of training as well.
Okay.
So I don't directly train them, but it's like to mentor them, right? So to mentoring these resources, and, let's say, getting them to a mark where they can, let's say, work autonomously. So that's one thing over there. Also, uh, when I say system architecture, right? So currently, Perennial, we are, let's say, a product development company. So we have our own homegrown products as well as we have service vertical where we build products for different organizations, right? So while building products, it's like they have their own problem statements, right? For example, if I give if any example, right? For example, an e-commerce, right? So uh, any startup founder comes up with a great idea. For example, he have to build some e-commerce platform which is, let's say, something expired different from the existing one or whatever it is, right? So my role will be to understand that requirement and, let's say, figure out how to implement that, or let's say how to make that happen in real life.
Okay.
Yeah. So what let's say what backends, let's say, yeah, what platform to build that complete
Okay.
uh, stack in. After that, uh, let's say scalability, all of the architectural aspects. So where it will be deployed, what number of users we are looking after, and what will be the change rate, what will be the traffic, and all of these things. So under, let's say, keeping all of these things in mind, uh, let's say build uh, some blueprint which will, let's say, which will be a path to, let's say, near future, or let's say uh, maybe around 1 or 2 years, how the whole system will look like and how this whole business is going to be formed after it. So something like that. So it involves, let's say, lots of cloud interaction as well, right?
Okay.
So to decide which cloud platform we want to go with. So AWS, GCP, Azure, DO. So lots of platforms I interact with. Uh, at the same time, there can be some use cases like we are dealing with multi-cloud platforms, right? Uh, for example, just a simple example. Let's say AWS don't have a region in Indonesia, right? So they don't host there, they don't have data centers there. So if there is some organization having complete infrastructure on AWS, but now they want to serve in Indonesia also, but AWS don't have services there, but GCP have. So how to connect multiple cloud platforms, how to make sure that there will be a central command, complete, let's say, command center, and uh, it will be manageable.
Okay.
Yeah, so lots of things, cool technical challenges that I encounter.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your every day is just identifying these challenges and then working them out and making sure that the developers are able to develop based on that.
Yes. So this is mostly on the what I just talked about. This is mostly on the, let's say, uh, higher level, let's say level one and level two. But sometimes there is, uh, let's say, let's say base level job as well, right? So maybe this can happen that there is some delivery, there is some logic you'll need to figure out. So I never, let's say, hesitate to, let's say, get my hands dirty and start coding. So yeah, that's
Okay.
always there.
Oh, you're still hands-on and you can just start typing if required.
Yeah, everything. I just want that because uh, that is the thing which, let's say, uh, inspired me. That is the, let's say, first step where I started,
Yeah.
all of these things. So
So that's the roots. You don't want to leave them.
exactly, that is
Great.
the route.
Okay. So what kind of challenges do you feel like from a developer's point of view, the world is one way. And when you become a tech lead or an architect, there are some differences in your role. So did you notice any major changes and how did you cope with them?
Sure. It's about it's all about the perspective. So when we say I was a developer, right? It depends on the role and the organization as well. I was very fortunate to have that kind of exposure uh, to the big picture. So what happens is when there is a developer, right? It may not have the, let's say, visualization to the big picture, how the whole system is working, let's say how it looks like. Uh, So the thing what changed for me is, let's say, the ability to contribute. So maybe as a developer I was not having that much ability to contribute in the bigger picture altogether. But let's say along the time growing up to the architecture level, I have that ability right now to, let's say, contribute to the bigger picture and uh, do something good which impacts the whole system and everything like that.
We met for the first time in the AWS meetup, so sometime maybe in '98 or
Yeah, it was AWS Community Day
yeah, so
2018 maybe. Yeah.
2018. Yeah, so you have been a frequent visitor to AWS community meetups. Any other communities you have been following?
Yeah, Google Cloud Communities. So AWS, GCP. Azure is not that active in India, right?
Okay,
They're not that active. So yeah, AWS, GCP, also DigitalOcean.
okay,
So I just, let's say, visit the community meetups, their events and all. So from last 1.5 year, it's all remote, right?
yeah,
Not having the actual interaction, right? Because we also met in the AWS summit only, right? And we have
mm.
that connection, we have that contact, but it's remote, and that is the only thing which is lagging behind. Like we are
You
not
don't
able
meet
to
the
actually
people.
meet people. Yes.
Yeah. So what kind of benefits did you get by visiting these communities, apart from the wonderful food that you get there?
Yeah, food was good. Apart from that, the people I met, right? So I met
Okay,
you because, so yeah, that's one of the good thing I think which happens in the community meetups. With we get the opportunity to interact with community, we get to know real intelligent people, uh, let's say, and get to increase the let's say our connections and all. So it's about giving and taking, right? So
okay,
more than you give, you take a lot, because that wide audience, that wide set of experiences. Yeah. So that's what the community events, I think.
okay. And do you get anything in the online, as you said, like you don't meet people in the online events, but apart from that, are the sessions informative, or would you prefer the YouTube sessions more than that?
Okay, so with the online sessions, the flexibility is the best thing, right? Ki you just can
Okay,
attend them according to your times. But
okay,
apart from that, yeah, the speakers are always good. AWS have a good set of, let's say, uh, technical peoples. They have great sessions. Yeah, so there is no competition for the technical, let's say, people altogether. But yeah, the flexibility is the only thing that we get. Apart from that,
okay,
it's not good. I really miss the on ground experience with
okay.
AWS community and all.
Okay. So do you follow any of the AWS leaders, or
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
some speakers on every topic? Like, do you follow any of them in particularly?
Yeah, I have lots of speakers in my LinkedIn connections. So
No?
yeah, they keep posted. Let's say they keep posting lots of new AWS things that they are doing, and I really follow them.
Okay. Can you
Yeah.
name some of them?
Uh, Dhaval is one of the person from
Okay.
Ahmednagar. He is, let's say, AWS community hero, and he's working on Lambda functions. So
Okay.
yeah, let's say serverless and Lambdas. He's working a lot on that. So yeah, he's
Okay.
there. And then Subramani, he's also there.
Okay.
Yeah, I just can't remember just two names now.
Okay. That's good. So you have been following them, and you like the contents that they share.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
And
Uh,
anybody in GCP?
Not much.
Not much.
Not much in
AWS
GCP.
heroes are AWS heroes.
Yes, yes. So it's like
Okay.
the way that AWS have the whole structure in, right? So they structured community, uh, let's say, in that way only, right? So they have community heroes, they have different user groups, and people are much more interactive in the AWS part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Other communities are not driven by the organization. They are just based on the motivation of the people themselves. The
yeah.
AWS
So
communities are driven by AWS.
driven by AWS, and also people are, let's say, very very enthusiastic, and uh, they like to contribute. They like to talk it out. Let's say different things that they are doing, different amazing things. Yeah, it's really good, the AWS community.
Okay. Okay. So in your uh, so many years of your career, can you remember one big decision that you made that made a difference to your life?
There are a lot of such decisions.
Okay.
uh,
Okay.
okay, the one decision that really made big change. Okay, so it's about my academics for sure. I was not that good in academics for sure. About the, let's say, technology, about let's say programming languages, let's say coding. I was interested from beginning. I used to code from, let's say, around uh, 14 to 15 years of my age. I'm just coding from that time.
Okay.
So I got really less marks in my 12th examination. There was two ways in front of me, either to choose uh, engineering part, so just do the diploma, let's say, come back again with better marks in let's say in diploma, and after that get admissions to engineering. Or otherwise there is the different way, go to business part and
Mm.
let's say get in the family business and all. So I chose the technical way.
Okay.
I finished my diploma and got better marks, then got the admissions to engineering, like that. So that was the uh,
Okay.
really very important decision, which really made me who I am right now.
Cool. Anything that you hate about your job?
Hmm. Okay, that's that's something very tough, because uh, yeah, I'm just doing what I love. And okay, the thing what I hate. Hmm. I'm not, let's say, uh, very much social, so kind of a geeky person in tech only. So uh, I love interacting with, let's say, intelligent people and all. But in team, it's like you have to uh, you have to manage people. It's more of the people skill that is required, right? But
Okay.
I'm not that good in that. So yeah, somewhere in the people skill, if I can, let's say, skip something, so that will be much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you when you become when you grow higher, you have to take up some people management skills, and you feel that
Yeah,
could be
yeah,
avoided.
for sure, for sure. That will be great if something could be avoided. But apart from that, uh, if you have that job, if you got that job, right, then you have to anyway make it done, right.
Okay.
So that's what I think of. And yeah, I for sure, let's say, picked up a lot of skills around that, improving my people skills, improving my, let's say, management skills, let's say people management skills a lot. And I'm just
Okay.
working on that, and I
Great.
hope that I'll be much better in that
Okay.
coming times.
So when you see the freshers coming into your company,
Hmm.
do you see them, most of them stumbling on some block? Like some of them just zoom in, and some of them are
Hmm.
struggling to come into the IT industry. Do you see a common problem for such people?
There are lots of problems, first of all, and very common problem is exposure. They don't have valid exposures, and because of that they don't develop that interest levels in their earlier ages, right. Because of the exposure part, they don't have the interest, and because they don't uh, and that is the only leading factor I see, which uh, ends up at, let's say, making them not that good, or let's say making them struggle.
Okay.
Because I was very fortunate to get that exposure in, let's say, in earlier days, in, let's say, in 14, let's say 13 to 14 years of my age. And because of that, I got that, let's say, interest and that attitude to learn new things and quickly move ahead. And that's why, uh, let's say, it made my career. Yeah.
Okay. So how
And
do you think they should cope up?
hmm, okay. So lots of people, let's say, blame at the education system. But apart from education system, there are multiple factors. It can be uh, environment, where these people are from, right? Environment can be one thing. uh, After that, uh, let's say uh, whole their background, maybe their let's say their family background, and lots of things can matter over there, right? The literacy level and all of
Yeah.
these things. This really impacts a lot when we say their exposure to things. But what can be done is from the people like us, right, who know these are the problems, and this are really serious problems, right? So we just can uh, let's say put few hours of our life, let's say few hours a week or something, maybe on Saturday Sundays, just to uh, let's say teach, or let's say contribute something to the community. If we build community better around, let's say around depths of let's say India's roots, or we can say
Mm.
smaller cities, or we can, if we can build communities there, then students like some fresher coming in will get that exposure, and maybe he can just develop uh, greater career, or let's say greater interest about that. So yeah,
Okay.
community building can help a lot uh, solving this problem.
Okay. So, say a college student comes to you and asks you for a career advice. How would you guide him?
Okay, I see there is one skill which is which have the highest priority and highest importance. It's the logical reasoning, right, and understanding to the problem statement. So part one, to understand a problem statement, and second, the logical reasoning. I'll just recommend that person to uh, let's say uh, try on some conundrums, maybe, or let's say try writing some code, some technical problems. So there are lots of technical problems, right? So four-win problem and lots of things. So yeah, ultimately, I'll just suggest that student to get some hands-on on the logical skills. If the logic is built up in a better way, then they for sure can, let's say, have a great career in front of them.
Okay. So one problem that most of them face is there's a wide range of technologies to learn. Like when somebody passes out of college and steps into the IT industry, they're overwhelmed with the huge number of options.
Yes, yes, yes.
Cloud, AI, blockchain, a lot of them. So how did you choose and how should one choose?
Okay. So it's about the uh, let's say cause, right? So myself, I'm driven by cause for what I'm working for, right? So let's say each one have to, let's say, choose that cause. If you have to work for money, let's say you just go to financial, right? If you want to work for let's say some environmental cause, there are different sectors like that. So you have to identify your cause.
Okay.
For example, uh, we can say some health issues, or let's say good health is the cause, or let's say to help patients to uh, help patients, or help doctors to treat patients, something like that, right? So if that is the cause, one can learn skills around that. So when we say in software, right, so you can have, let's say, data analytics skills, or you can, let's say, adopt machine learning skills, or let's say around that vertical, right? So you can process data, you can let's say extract some valuable insights out of it. So again, it totally, let's say, boils down to the cause you're working for. And yeah, that's it. So
Okay.
I'll just
So you
recommend the
should pick up a domain of your passion and then uh, pick up the technologies that are required there
exactly. So
instead of taking a technology.
yeah, rather than picking a technology, just let's say cover the whole vertical, right?
Okay.
it's a very big picture altogether, right? When we say
Okay.
uh, uh, let's say medical facility, or let's say medical vertical, right? So it's a very wide vertical. There are lots of things. So to from building the applications to deploying them to, let's say, getting insights out of it, it's
Okay.
whole vertical. So if one can uh, try, so he just can, let's say, capture the whole vertical.
Okay. So
Yeah,
focus on a domain that appeals to you, and rather than just going after a technology where you don't even know what it is.
exactly. So the domain will help a lot. And
Okay.
for the business, when we say there is a startup working on some concept, right? So that startup needs a person who understands the domain.
Okay.
So if you understand domain, you can contribute in a better way.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not about the technology. It's not just about technology. It's about the problem statement you are solving. So uh, I don't know it was quote from Bill Gates or not, right? Ki, I'll prefer to hire somebody who solves the problem lazily than, let's say, uh, uh, in a simpler way than the in a complicated way, right?
Okay.
So yeah, to really solve a problem in simpler way, you'll need to have domain knowledge, and that you get from uh, domain understandings, right? If you are in that domain, let's say, made that understanding. And when we say somebody is, let's say, evolving, and let's say now have, let's say, 15 or 20 years of experience, that 15 or 20 years of experience depict that that person is, let's say, uh, working in that vertical from that big, let's say, that much years, right? And he knows that much. So it's about knowledge. And
Okay.
yeah, so to start from a domain, that's the right thing for me, I think. That is the right way to do things.
That's interesting. That's good. So you have given a good overview of your learnings. Your own career journey is really inspiration for a lot. Like many people don't even know what is a computer at the age of 14. They just know that yeah, software engineers earn a lot of money. But beyond that, very few people want to get into IT for the fun of it. They have already had a startup at that age. That's really interesting. You worked on interesting problems for that. Yes. Thanks a lot for your inputs. It was really
Yeah,
great.
because always.